Good evening.
Good evening, a warm welcome to all of you to the webinar series hosted by Advocates Association Bengaluru. We have with us today Mr. S.N. Murthy, Senior Advocate, High Court of Karnataka. Sir, it's indeed a privilege to have you with us. Sir. Welcome to the webinar. Now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our today's beloved speaker, Mr. S.N. Murthy. Mr. Murthy is an alumni of BMS College of Law, from where he completed his basic graduation in law. He later obtained his master's degree from Renukacharya College of Law, specialized in industrial and administrative law. He has been practicing for last 46 years before various tribunals, High Court and the Supreme Court. He is designated as a senior advocate by the High Court of Karnataka in the year 2003. He has trained a number of young advocates and who are performing extremely well. Large number of industrial relation personnel, HR personnel, company law officers are trained by Mr. Murthy. Mr. Murthy has a vast client base, which includes various multinational companies and well-known industries. They also take advice from Mr. Murthy in formulating their policies. Popularly known as SNM, Mr. Murthy is known for his frank, pragmatic, and professional advice. He is more popular among HR professionals because of his simplicity and humility. Mr. Murthy is highly specialized in mediation skills, and he mediates and facilitates out-of-court settlement, mitigating the undue delay between the parties and sorting discrepancy between the employers in a cost-effective way. Mr. Murthy has a number of reported cases to his credit. He has argued a number of cases having great impact. Just to quote a few: cases pertaining to protection of workmen under the industrial law, cases pertaining to challenge to validity of voluntary retirement of employees, enhanced pension for employees under the employee pension scheme, to name a few. Sir, on behalf of Advocates Association Bengaluru, I extend a warm welcome to you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Ranganath, President of the Association, Office Bearers of the Bangalore, the Advocates Association Bengaluru, Mr. Trivikram, and all those who are now wanting to listen to what I have to say on the subject. Firstly, let me congratulate the Advocates Association Bengaluru for having taken up this task of giving opportunities to the seniors to interact with the younger members of the bar and to impart whatever little knowledge we have gained over the years. In fact, I should say, I've been asking my colleagues why from March 23rd till date, I have no occasion to speak anywhere. Why nobody is briefing me? From March 23rd till date, have we become outmoded? And or we are de-recognized? What is the situation? Then many of my colleagues told me, sir, after all, you are a senior advocate practicing only on the labor field, and labor is not listed in the High Court, and no judge is designated to take care of labor matters till today. I say this not because I am angry with anyone or I am upset with anyone, but this is a trend all over. Labor is the last priority. The country has treated the labor, whether it's agricultural labor, industrial labor, or anyone, as though it's a sort of a necessary evil and not that it is of any great importance. I can tell you many of such instances where we got the feeling that this is not an area which is considered important either by the government or by the executive, and definitely not by the judiciary. why should one say labor law is of a great importance or is of importance? We all talk of economic growth, unemployment, underemployment, GDP falling down, gross GDC, domestic product, gross domestic product, GDP.
Okay, okay.
As I understand, is the overall productivity of the nation, production of the nation. Now, in such an important area, if we have large percentage of people lying idle and not producing anything, how do you expect GDP to grow? I have a feeling that the central government and also the state governments, not today, but right from the time of independence, we have not encouraged production and productivity in this country. Take, for example, we used to be known as a country of silk and iron ore also. We export iron ore to China. They manufacture by giving employment to their employees, and they send finished products to us. Why are we not able to manufacture ourselves? VISL Bhadravati needs to be closed according to central government. But raw materials go to China. Who have made China what it is today? I remember as a very young man, as a student, apart from Ambassador and Fiat, we had not seen any car. Tata's wanted to manufacture car, but the government of India said no. We would rather import from other countries rather than allow our own people to produce. Silk is the same thing. China has washed us off of the silk industry. So there must be various causes for all these things. One important factor that strikes my mind is that when you import, there is tremendous scope for all those concerned with import to make money. Straight away, to put it, corruption. Look at any import. Look at any defense import. The country talks not about what the product is, how good the product is, how it is made, but they only talk of who made money, which agent made money, where the money was made. So import is a mechanism through which all our people who matter are very happy. They could make money and they could be comfortable. 1990, we came into globalization. And if it is globalization, what I manufacture in India should be competitive in the world market. Will it become competitive? Look at China 1947, India 1947. China is supposed to be a communist nation. Today commands any country in the world. And where are we? What is the difference then? We are there, our neighbors. Why did we grow? Our politicians were so short-sighted that they did not want to allow the country to grow. Now, with the result, we are in deep trouble today. Our productivity is also extremely low. We have to convert our population into working population. Now, look at how government has dealt with in the last 70 years. Everyone talks of farmer. India is an agrarian society, fine. We're happy to say that. But what did you do to see that Indian farmers keep pace with those abroad, with their counterparts abroad? India can produce food grain for the whole world. But we still many a time say, well, rates have gone up, import tur dal, import some other item, import sugar suddenly because there's a shortfall. Why all this is happening? You have kept the farmer, the politicians talk of farmer only when the election comes. If they don't produce sufficiently, when such large percentage of Indians are farmers, where will the GDP go? It can grow through the agrarian area, or it can go through the industrial area. In fact, it should go through both, otherwise it is not going to be effective. Now, let's come to industry. What is it that the government has done in the last, right from the day of independence to till date? Look at various laws in the country. They have modernized or amended the tax laws, motor vehicle laws, family laws. They have removed excise law completely. Talk of any law, it has undergone sea change depending upon the need of the hour. But talk about labor laws. What was in 1947 remains to be the same even today. 1947 Industrial Disputes Act remains the same. Why nobody wants to amend labor laws? It doesn't pay them anything. Now, look at this. Whether it is industrial law or compensation law, there is a workman's compensation or employees' compensation law, or trade union law. With the times, we have not changed. Productivity has not changed. Now, amendments are needed. Then what is the present position of labor laws? The one big factor that has affected productivity and growth of industry in this country is high degree of indiscipline. Indiscipline to such an extent that Supreme Court had to acknowledge in one of its judgments. I have always said earlier that Supreme Court is responsible for, to a great extent, for the industrial indiscipline. And I say that if I were to say myself, Supreme Court is responsible for indiscipline, partly at least for indiscipline in the industrial arena, possibly they would haul me up for contempt of court. But I would like to refer to a judgment of the Supreme Court in the Hombegowda Education Trust and others versus State of Karnataka. Justice S.B. Sinha has written a passage. I would like to read it for the benefit of all. At para 26, to be precise, so that whoever wants to look into can go into that. This court, that is reference to Supreme Court, has come a long way from its earlier viewpoints. The recent trend in the decisions of this court seek to strike a balance between the earlier approach of the industrial relation, wherein only the interest of the workmen was sought to be protected, and the avowed object of fast industrial growth of the country. In several decisions of this court, it has been noticed that how discipline at the workplaces, industrial undertaking received a setback. This is what Supreme Court says. Please don't be under the impression that the advocate is talking about it. In several decisions of this court, it has been noticed that how discipline at the workplace, industrial undertaking received a setback. In view of the change of economic policy of the country, it may not now be proper to allow the employees to break the discipline with impunity. So, because of economic policy changing, Supreme Court says, now we should not allow indiscipline. So till then, till the economic policy change, you could comfortably allow indiscipline. Now they open up their eyes and say, no. Now that you see economic policy of the country, globalization is taken place, multinationals have come into this country, now we cannot have indiscipline. That means there is a clear acknowledgement of who is responsible for indiscipline. Why? Why this position? And look at the judgment, another judgment, wherein it is very, very difficult and awkward for me to read what was the charge, but I can only tell you a portion of the charge which was against the workmen. Just only small portion of the charge I shall read for you. You are advised that being a responsible employee and that too belonging to the security department, you should not abuse any employee, but you continue in a hot temper and demanded Mr. Durg Singh to be called in the gate office. When Sri Durg Singh was brought and in your presence, he once again confirmed and reiterated that you had given the challenge to the person of Gurumukh Das. You lost all your senses and started abusing S.K. Bagga and write in a filthy, derogatory, and abusive manner. They have no doubt translated what were the abuses. I have no courage, nor I'm not culturally brought up to read that portion. You can imagine what the abuse may be. Now, as an answer to this, look at what the Supreme Court says. It is also seen from the judgment of the Labour Court that the appellant was not given a list of the management's witnesses before the commencement of the domestic inquiry. In these circumstances, we are of the opinion that the conclusion of the Labour Court that the inquiry officer had not acted properly in the proceeding and that he had not given full opportunity to the appellant as required by law does not call for any interference. The charge leveled against the appellant is not a serious one. It's not a serious one, and it is not known how the charge, even if proved, would result in any much less total loss of confidence of management in the appellant as the management would have the charge. So, the Supreme Court translates what they term as unprintable language, abuses, and it is printed in all the journals. And they say, oh, what is there? This is not charged even if proved. So what is there if you abuse? You can abuse. Abuse your supervisor, abuse your manager, abuse anyone you want, but it's not good enough for dismissal. Thank God. Much later, Justice Santosh Hegde delivered a judgment in which he very categorically said, if a workman were to abuse his superior on the shop floor, in the presence of others, in an abusive manner, dismissal is the appropriate punishment. Now look at what signal this is sending to the judges of in the lower courts. Shocking, I would say, giving the details of what should be done in a given circumstances. My clients sometimes come to me and says, sir, Barak 3 dina late bartane sir. 3 ತಿಂಗಳಿನಲ್ಲೂ 10 ನಿಮಿಷ 12 ನಿಮಿಷ 5 ನಿಮಿಷ 8 ನಿಮಿಷ ಲೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ ಸರ್, ನೀವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ ಅಂತಾರೆ ಎಲ್ರೂ, ಡಿಸ್ಮಿಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ಲ ಸರ್? ನಾನು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಹೇಳೋದು ಡಿಸ್ಮಿಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಬೇಡ? ನೀವು ತಾನೇ ಲಾ ಓದಿರೋದು, ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿ. ನಾನು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅವ್ರು ಏನಂತ ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ. Then I tell him, go to an astrologer, ask him before which judge it will come. Then I will tell you whether he will succeed or not. Don't ask me. Supposing it goes before a labor court judge, who himself comes late at least 2-3 times in a week. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ನೋ ಆಸ್ಕರ್ ನೋ ಟೆಲ್ಲರ್ ಆ ಲೇಬರ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರ ಮುಂದೆ ಅಯ್ಯೋ ನಾನೇ ಲೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ ಜಡ್ಜ್ ಆಗಿ, ಈ ಪಾಪ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಲೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಮಾದ ವಿಚಾರ. ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ನೋ ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಮೂರ್ತಿ, ಡೋಂಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಸೀರಿಯಸ್. ಲಿಟಲ್ ಲೇಟ್ ಇನ್ ಅಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಡಸಂಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್. ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ 11ಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋರ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿಸ್? ನಾನು ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಜಡ್ಜ್ ಆಗಿ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ, ಇವ್ ಕೆಲ್ಸಗಾರ ಮೆಷಿನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಇಂಥ ಲೇಟ್ ಆಗೋದ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿ ನಡೆಯೋದೇ ಇದು. Dismissal is right, quite right. So what has been done ultimately? The whole labor law has become subjective, discretionary. Nobody has taken interest in labor laws. That is one of the main reasons. In one case argue ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ labor court ಮುಂದೆ. 2 medical representatives, they were extremely competent medical representative of a pharmaceutical company. ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ಸೇಲ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಮೆಡಲ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಸಿಲ್ವರ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ರೆಫ್ರಿಜರೇಟರ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಏರ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ as a gift. And they had got all the awards which were given in the previous 3-4 years. They were caught by going from one place to another place in the course of the duty in 3rd class and claiming a 1st class fare. The company dismissed as a matter of principle and dismissed ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರು. ಅವರು ಬಂದ್ರು, ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ ಸರ್, ಅದು ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆ ತರ ಆಯ್ತು ಹಾಗೆ ಹೀಗೆ ಅಂತ. ಇವು ಟ್ರೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಇದ್ವು ಹಿಂದೆ. ನಾನು ಆರ್ಗ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು. ಆ ಲೇಬರ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಜಡ್ಜ್ ಏನೂ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾವೇನು ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳು ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಲಾಯರ್ ಅಂದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ನಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವರು ಜಡ್ಜು ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂದ ಕೇಳಿರೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ, ನನ್ನ ಬಿಲ್ ಅಪ್ರೂವ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ನೋಟ್ ಬರಿಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಮೂರ್ತಿ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯೂ ವೆಹಿಮೆಂಟ್ಲಿ ಹಾಗೆ ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ನನಗೆ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಆದ್ರು ತುಂಬ ಜೋರಾಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಮೊದಲೇ ನನ್ನ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಜೋರು, ಇನ್ನೂ ಜೋರ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. 2 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸಾಹೇಬ್ರು ಒಳಗೋದ್ರು. ಇವನ್ ಕ್ಲರ್ಕ್ ಬಂದ, ಏಚಾರ ಕಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಏನಯ್ಯ, ನಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟು ಕೂತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಕಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ ಏನಾಗ್ತ? ಅವ್ರೇನು ಹುಣಸೆ ಬೀಜ ನನಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋದು, ಆರ್ಗ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕೋ ಬೇಡವಾ? ಇರಿ ಸರ್ 1 ನಿಮಿಷ ಅಂದ. ಯು ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿಲ್. ಒಳಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ, ಸಾಹೇಬ್ರದ್ದು ಟಿ ಎ ಬಿಲ್ ತಂದ. ಅವ್ರು ಹುಬ್ಳಿಯಿಂದ 3rd ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ರು ರಾತ್ರಿ. ಆ ಟಿ ಎ ಬಿಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 1st ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಈಗ ನಾನು ಮಿಸ್ಅಪ್ರಾಪ್ರಿಯೇಷನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಅಂತವ್ರ ಮುಂದೆ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು? ಅಗೇನ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್. ಯಾರು ಏನು ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರು ಇದು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. I want to give one more example. I know I'm running short of time, but I want to say what was the labor law, what it should be. ಒಂದು ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಗಾರ್ಡು, ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬ ರೂಮ್ ಅಟೆಂಡರ್, ಇಬ್ರು ಸೇರಿ 4 ಚದ್ದರ್, 4 ಬೆಡ್ಶೀಟ್ ಕತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಆವಾಗ ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಇನ್ನೂ ಬ್ರಿಕ್ ವಾಲ್ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಕಾಂಪೌಂಡ್ ತಂತಿ ಗಿಂತಿ ಹಾಕಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಹಿಡಿದು ಬಿಟ್ಟ ಅವನು, ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಚೀಫು. ಅವ್ರೇನಿಲ್ಲ, ಹೌಸ್ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗ್ತಿದ್ವಿ, ತಪ್ಪಾಯ್ತು. ಏನ್ ಸರ್ ಇದು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಿರೋದು ಬೆಡ್ಶೀಟು, ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಬೆಲೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. ನನಗೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇದೆ. ಮೈ ಅಪೋನೆಂಟ್ ಅಡ್ವೊಕೇಟ್ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಎ.ವಿ. ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸನ್ ಕಾರತ್ತೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡ್ರಿ, ಮುಗಿಸ್ರಿ ಅಂತ. ನೋ ಸರ್, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಟಾಟಾ ಕಂಪನಿ ಸರ್, ವಿ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಕೀಪ್ ಥೀವ್ಸ್ as though other companies will keep thieves. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಯರ್ಸ್ ಕಳ್ಸಿರು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಎಂಕ್ವೈರಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ. ಇವ್ರು ಎಂಕ್ವೈರಿಗೂ ಬಂದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಹೌದು ಕದ್ದಿದ್ ನಿಜ, ಸೋ ವಾಟ್, 2 ಬೆಡ್ಶೀಟ್ ತಾನೇ ಕದ್ದಿರೋದು, ನಾವೇನು ಇವ್ರು ಹೋಟ್ಲ್ ಕದ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ. ಆಯ್ತು, ಅವರು ಲೇಬರ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಜಡ್ಜ್ ಒಂದು ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ ಬರೆದು, ಕದ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದು ಪ್ರೂವ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಆದ್ರೂ ಇವನನ್ನ ಕೆಲಸದಿಂದ ತೆಗೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಇವ್ನ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಬೀದಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದನ್ನ 80,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕಾಂಪನ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಕೊಡೋಣ ಒಬ್ಬೊಬ್ಬಂಗೂ. 80,000 ಯಾವತ್ತು? 35 ವರ್ಷದ ಹಿಂದಿನ 80,000. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಾಮೂಲಾಗಿ ಬಾಂಬೆ ಲಾಯರ್ಸ್, ಸಾಲಿಸಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋದ. ಅವ್ರು ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಮೂರ್ತಿ ಟು ಫೈಲ್ ರಿಟ್ ಪಿಟಿಷನ್. ನಾ ರಿಟ್ ಹಾಕಿದೆ. ರಿಟ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಹೇಬ್ರು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನನಗೆ, ಆರಾಮಾಗಿ ಅಡ್ಮಿಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ. ಅವ್ರು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನನ್ನ, ವಾಟ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಮೂರ್ತಿ, ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯು ಗಾನ್ ಟು ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಅಂದರು. ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಸರ್. ಡ್ಯೂ ಯು ನೋ ಹೌ ಮಚ್ ಟೀ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂದರು. ಸರ್ ನಾನು ಲಾಯರ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ, ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಟೀ ಕುಡಿತೀನ? ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾನು ಕುಡಿತೀನಿ. ಅದು ನಂಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಂತ. ನೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಹೀಗೆ ಅಡ್ಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಆ ವರ್ಕರ್ಸು ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು ರೀಇನ್ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ. ನಂಗೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಆಯಿತು. ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಫಾರ್ ಅನದರ್ ಜಡ್ಜ್, ವೆರಿ ಜಾವಿಯಲ್ ಜಡ್ಜ್. ಅವ್ರು ನನಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ, ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಮೂರ್ತಿ, ದೀಸ್ ಟು ಫೆಲೋಸ್ ಆರ್ ಥೀವ್ಸ್. I agree, you should not take them back. I will dismiss their repetitions. ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡೆ ಏನೋ ಕಾಯ್ತಿದೆ ನನಗೆ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ. ಅವರಷ್ಟು ಬಹಳ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಡಿಸ್ಮಿಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂದಾಗ. ಬಟ್ ಡೂ ಒನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್, ಟೆಲ್ ಯುವರ್ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್, ಯು ರೌಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಅಪ್ ಟು 1 lakh each, add 20,000 to it. ನಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ ಬಂದು ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸರ್, ಹೌ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಹೈ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಡೂ ದಿಸ್? ನಾಳೆ ಡೋಂಟ್ lose your cool here. I'm only a lawyer. We'll file appeal. ಹಾಗೆ ಹೀಗೆ ನಾನು ತಮಾಷೆಗೆ ಅವ್ನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ನೋಡಯ್ಯ, ಲೇಬರ್ ಕೋರ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳ್ಳಂಗೆ ಬೆಲೆ 80,000, ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಜಡ್ಜ್ ಹತ್ರ 1 ಲಕ್ಷ, ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ಬೆಂಚ್ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ಯಾಕೆ ಬೇಕು? ಕೊಟ್ಟತ್ತಾಗೆ ಆರಾಮಾಗಿ ಕೈ ತೊಳ್ಕೊ. ಗಲಾಟೆ ಮಾಡಿ ರಿಟ್ ಅಪೀಲ್ ಹಾಕ್ಸಿರಿ. ಇಟ್ ಕೇಮ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಎ ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ಬೆಂಚ್. ಜಡ್ಜ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಿಂಗ್, ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಮೂರ್ತಿ, you tell your client directly, as these people don't listen. But we were young, very young. ನಾವು ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಥರ ಇದ್ದವರಲ್ಲ. ಇವಾಗ 46 ವರ್ಷ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಸುಲಭ. 35 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಬಹಳ ಕಷ್ಟ ಇತ್ತು. Why I am quoting this is, indiscipline ಬಂದು ಅದನ್ನ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆನೂ ಅಪ್ಹೋಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿಂದ ಇಷ್ಟು ಗಲಾಟೆ ಆಯ್ತು. ಮೊದಲನೇ ದಿನಾನೇ we don't tolerate indiscipline in industry. We don't tolerate go slow. We don't tolerate this sort of a abusing and misappropriation. ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಕೂತಿ ಬೇರೆ. ಈಗ ಈ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಏನ್ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಬೇಕು? I want to say, India is the only country in the world which does not permit an employer, an industrialist who starts a factory and has got 100 or more workmen to close down the factory. ನಾನು ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಕೇಳಬೇಕು, ರಿಟ್ರೆಂಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಕೇಳಬೇಕು, ಲೇ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಕೇಳಬೇಕು. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯಾ? I want to ask Advocates Association President is here. I want to ask the Bar Council Chairman if he's listening to me. When you want to administer oath, it's 100 lawyers, new youngsters. Room al kursಕೊಂಡು ಎಲ್ಲ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಕೋಟ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಪ್ಪ, ಐ ವೆರಿ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕಮ್. ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಲಾಯರ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ತೀರಾ? ಬಟ್ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಯು ಟೇಕ್ ಓತ್, till lifelong you must wear black coat. Otherwise you'll be sent to jail. 90 fellows may walk out. Judges ಮಕ್ಕಳು, ಅಡ್ವೊಕೇಟ್ಸ್ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಉಳ್ಕತ್ತಾರೆ. ಪಾಪ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಬರೋರು ಯಾರು ಅಂತ ರಿಸ್ಕ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ನೀವೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ? ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯು ಡನ್ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ? Look at the plight today. Most of the industrial establishment, they supply to major industry and to countries abroad. Most of them have written letters, suspend shipment, suspend manufacturing, by orders withdrawn. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? ಲೇ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ರಿಟ್ರೆಂಚ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. So basic requirement is an amendment to the industrial law which says, I'll give you flexibility in the matter of engaging labor and running your show. ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ಇಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷ ಹೊಡೆದಾಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಒಂಚೂರು ಏನೋ ಮಾಡು, ಅದು ಏನು ಹಾಫ್ ಹಾರ್ಟೆಡ್, ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಆಫ್ ಮಚ್ ಯೂಸ್. ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ದೇನೆಯ ನೀವು ಬರೀ ನೋ, ಇಫ್ ಯು ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಐಲ್ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಯು ಟು ಜೈಲ್. ಇವತ್ತು ಹೇಗಾಗಿದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಲೇಬರ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಎವ್ರಿ ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಸೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯರ್ ಟು ಜೈಲ್. ಕ್ರಿಮಿನಲ್ಸ್ ನಂತೂ ಜೈಲಿಗೆ ಕಳ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲಿಸ್ಟ್ಗಳನ್ನಾರು ಜೈಲಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬೋಣ. I'm not talking of those who are irresponsible employers. An honest man who wants to come and start a factory, for his bad luck, he cannot run the show. But if you tell him, no, who asked you to start? Now you have started, go to jail. Is that an encouragement to start an industry? State government or new industrial policy in the paper hakkondidare. Is that the policy? In fact, ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಕಡೆ ನನಗೆ ಈ ಥರನೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಏನ್ರಿ ವೈಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ MD ಜರ್ಮನ್ನು ಅವ್ರನ್ನೇ ಸಮನ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಯಾತಕ್ಕೆ? ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಇದಾಗಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ. ನಂಗೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇದೆ, ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ವೆರಿ ಬಿಗ್ ಕಾರ್ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಪನಿ ಯಾರೋ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾಗ ಸ್ಪ್ಯಾನರ್ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದ, ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಆ ಸ್ಪ್ಯಾನರ್ ಸ್ಲಿಪ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಒಂದು ಕಣ್ಣ ಹತ್ರ ಬಂತು, ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಏಟ್ ಬಿದ್ದಿತ್ತು. 2 ದಿನ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾಮೂಲು ಕೆಲ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಯ್ತು. ಕೆಲಸನೂ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ದ. ಕೆಲಸನೂ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅವನು ಹಿ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ. ಕ್ರಿಮಿನಲ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ದಿ ಕಂಪನಿ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ನೆಗ್ಲಿಜೆಂಟ್. ಅವ್ನು ಸ್ಪ್ಯಾನರ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಅಂತಿರೋ ಅವನು, ನಾನು ಹೇಗೆ ನೆಗ್ಲಿಜೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ನನಗೆ ಐ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆಲ್, ಸೋ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ. ಜಸ್ಟಿಸ್ ಆನಂದ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ಡ್ ದಿ ಅಡ್ವೊಕೇಟ್ಸ್ ದಿ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ನಮ್ಮನೇಲೆ ರೀ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸರಿ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಲೀಕ್ ಆದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಸರಿ ಪ್ಲಂಬರ್ ಕರೆಯಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ನಾವೇನೇ ಏನೋ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಅಂತಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಸ್ಲಿಪ್ ಆಗಿ ಒಂಚೂರು ಏಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಇದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಜೈಲಿಗೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನೀವ್ ಏನ್ರಿ ವಾಟ್ಸಾಪ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆರ್ ಯು ರನ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಸೊ ಇದ್ಯಾತಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇವತ್ತು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದಕ್ಕೂ ಇರೋ ಕಾನೂನಲ್ಲಿ ಜೈಲ್ 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 ತುಂಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವ್ರ ತಲೆಗೆ. I'll tell you why. So much of discretion you are given to the government officers. It's a license Raj. Nobody who is in his good senses or one who can understand law will ever start a factory in this country. Because there's a kind of law that you have brought in here. For everything you talk of jail. ಅದು ತೆಗಿಬೇಕು, ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಬರೋದಕ್ಕೆ. ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಬೇಕಾದಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, ಸರ್ ಒಂದು 90 ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 25 ಜನ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡ್ಲಾಗ ನಾಳೆ ಮುಟ್ಟಾಳ ಆಗ್ಬೇಡ, 100 ಒಳಗೆ ಇಟ್ಕೋ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 25 ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ 100 ಮೇಲೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೀನು ಯಾವ ತರ ಓವರ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಇವತ್ತು ಪೇಪರ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಅದು ದೇಶ ಉದ್ಧಾರ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಒಬ್ಬ ಯಾರೋ ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾನೆ, 30 ಎಕ್ವಿಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಶಿಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಾನೆ. 4 ಗಂಟೆ ಹೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು 40 ಮಾಡಪ್ಪ, ಇವತ್ತು ನನ್ನ ಫಾರಿನಿಗೆ ಕಳಿಸಿ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಗ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. ಮಾಲೀಕ ವರ್ಕರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಇನ್ನೊಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪೀಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಸರ್, ಅದಕ್ಕೇನಂತೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ. ವರ್ಕ್ಮೆನ್ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಕಂಪನಿ. ನಾಟ್ ದಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ಮೆನ್ ಆರ್ ಓಕೆ, ನಾಟ್ ದಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ಮೆನ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ಇದು ಅಂತಿಲ್ಲ, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟೆಡ್. So they will work. I have absolutely no agreements with Indian workers. They will work. But these government officials, ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಎಂಗ್ರಿ ಮಾಡಿಸಿರಿ ಓವರ್ ಟೈಮು, ನಮ್ಮ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ, ಓಕೆ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಯು. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಪಾಸಿಬಲ್ ಟು ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫೈ ದೆಮ್. ಈ ತರ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಷನ್, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಬೀಂಗ್ ಮಿಸ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್. It is high time that a labor inspector or a man at the lowest level in the labor department is stopped from going to an industry and threatening the industry people. If this is not done, then no amount of cajoling people from all over the world to come will be of any use. Because at the ground level, this is the position. You can't get the work done from the workmen even if they are willing to work. Contract Labor Act and true. I tell you one thing, I want to really tell all my listeners. Contract Labor Act is the most obnoxious act that I have ever come across in 46 years of practice. Yenadu Contract Labor Act. What is it? In the Contract Labor Act, a company wants certain packaging work to be done, maintenance work to be done. They will call a man, and who is called a contractor, and they will tell him, bring 100 fellows, I say. So he will get 100 people and they will start working here. Our contractor, into that contractor, GST is around 18%. His commission will be around 8%. In all other expenses put together will be 25%. Why do I need a contractor? Why do I need contract labor? Can I not be told, engage them whenever you want? When you don't have work, see, the only explanation employers give for engaging contract labor is, sir, laws are not flexible. If I engage 200 people today, tomorrow I do not have work, I will be threatened of being sent to jail. So for that purpose, I engage contract labor. A contract labor who is doing the same work is paid 1/3 the salary. I'm deadly against it for only one reason. Take, for example, a very senior HR man was burned alive in Maruti Manesar factory. Burned alive. The only reason given was contract labor were being paid 7,500 per month, whereas the regular people was paid more than 4 times. And the number of contract labor percentage was 67 as against 33 of the company employees. Who is responsible for this? Who made this law? It is the government. The government wants this law because they don't want to carry on work. They want to entrust everything. All right, let them make it for government jobs. Let them do whatever law they want. Now, trade unions and trade union leaders will be very comfortable when I say Contract Labor Act should be repealed. But I have one rider. Give flexibility of employment to the employer. Remove that chapter which says, for everything you must come to the government. I will run. If a trade union leader wants, I will convince him. Most of our trade union leaders are those who could be convinced if the facts are absolutely genuine. I have not found any difficulty with any trade union leader. But I have found difficulty with only the government officers. I can convince a trade union leader. He will tell me, Mr. Murthy, if the employer wants, if my members, workmen are ready to work, please go ahead, don't worry about it. But government will not say that. Officer will not say that. For officer, it's an opportunity. This discretion, as Wade said long back, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. What is power? What is power? Power is nothing but discretion. But I remember one of the advocates at Dharwad bench. I was told I was unfortunately not there. When a judge remarked, why is there so much problem? What is there? What is that you are doing? What is there so many divisions among advocates association or something to that effect? He said, so what? Do you think there are no difference among judges? Why are you complaining about advocates? And said, for some of the judges, we have to respect them because Article 226 is with them. Discretion is with them. Now, therefore, discretion. I'm not saying discretion should not be given. Article 226 is bad. None of those things. I'm not saying any of those things. All that I'm saying is discretion being given. The effects of that is, this is the position. Moment you give discretion, you can say draft approved, add not, and say draft not approved. Both are discretion. You can support it both ways. So therefore, I've been saying there must be amendment to law. Contract Labor Act must go. And Chapter 5B of the Industrial Disputes Act, which says for everything you run to the government for permission, should go. That will bring a very healthy atmosphere in the entire running of the institution. Another thing is, changes that are required for the good is a very healthy and good judiciary. Unfortunately, it appears full court of the Karnataka High Court once passed a resolution suggesting to the government that wherever there is no labor court, the principal district judge and session judge should be made the labor court. With the result, what is happening? My junior colleagues run to Ramnagara from Bangalore, run to Kolar from Bangalore. Ultimately, to find cases are not taken because that's not the priority area for a district and session judge. Whether he has other work or not is not my area. But what I am saying, this is the difficulty. Ever since now, in fact, I took the matter right up to the Supreme Court. Judges would not agree. They said, oh, it's all right. Justice to the door. What justice to the door? Are you talking of justice to the door? or just saying disposal at the door. How can you train so many people? How can it happen? Every 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, judges are changed. Labor court has never had a judge for more than 3-4 years. Many a time we said, look here, change the judicial process. If you delay, it will result in violence at the factory. Do not delay. Originally in 1947 it was said that all disputes must be settled in 6 months. Now who on earth is caring for this? Look at this. I want to show a book, a latest Industrial Disputes Act KLJ publication 2018 published. There is a definition of industry. If you have 2018 edition of the best book available in Bangalore of the Karnataka Law Journal, it defines an industry here. This definition of industry runs to 1.5 pages. This is the definition of industry introduced by Act number 46 of 1982. The publisher has comfortably printed this. Kalagade, on the last one bottom, they say clause J, that is definition of industry, substituted by Act number so and so, date of commencement of the Act has not yet been notified. 82 to today, 18 plus 20, 38 years. None of the central government, different parties which came to power, or the state government have the political will to submit this. What does this say? This has only said earlier definition of industry has virtually ruined some of the organization. Because in 1978, in Rajapa's case, it was very nice to say hospital is industry, educational institution is in industry, lawyer's office is in industry, chartered accountant's office is in Pinjra Pole is an industry, members club is an industry. Who on earth in 1947 when this was passed in the parliament? Who on earth? Do we think Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru as a prime minister thought this will be the interpretation given by judiciary? What sort of interpretation this is? And this is not what I say. Subsequent judgments, subsequent benches of the Supreme Court, subsequent benches of the Supreme Court said time has come to review this. Unfortunately, it was a judgment by I think 5 judges. Then it was in 2005, yes, a 5-bench judgment went into that. They said let 7 judges decide. And in 2011 or so, much later, Justice, then Chief Justice Thakur, he said let it go to 9 judges bench. Supreme Court has no time for this right from 2005. But Supreme Court will go into who can enter a temple, who should not enter a temple, who should do Aarti, who should not do Aarti, which speaker said this, which speaker said that. For everything there is time except interpreting labor laws because nobody considers this as important and that is most unfortunate. I say the economy of the country to a great extent is dependent on industrial law. If we produce, we sell. If we sell, we can provide employment to more people, have more foreign exchange, be a better economy. But nobody listens to us. In fact, we are not even given an audience by most of the times. We have so many grievances to say. Look at this, from 23rd March, I have not appeared in a single brief because no judge has been assigned with labor laws. In fact, trade union leaders are asking me many times, sir, you are a senior advocate, you are known to us, why don't you go and represent? I am not speaking to anyone here in the capacity of an advocate for management. I am speaking purely as a lawyer and as a person interested to present as to how the labor laws needs to be amended if we have to survive and move further. Now, many of my trade union leaders have today in the newspaper I read, they have been a little unhappy with the amendments. To them, I have a very personal request. I'm sure most of them are hearing me today, this evening. Your main grievance is that because the limit has been raised from 100 to 300, many employers may terminate the services of employees. You are very right. They will. At the same time, do not forget, that will instill confidence in a large number of newcomers to the field, the existing industrialists, to recruit more people. Mindset is very important. Mentally, I should be free. All right, up to 300 people I can engage. Tomorrow, if I want to restructure, I may restructure, which with 100 people, it is not possible. Please understand the plight. Now, I want to put a question to you, the union leaders who are listening to me. A car manufacturer reduces car manufacture to a number where even the sale price of that is not sufficient to pay salaries of even 1/10 of the employees. And all those who are supplying to this big car manufacturing company have no orders. They all have what, 200, 250, 300, 350. Now, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to go to jail? You tell us, you all take the factory, take over the factory. We'll tell our clients to give the factory to you, trade union leaders. Please run and show how you will pay salary. It is very easy to say, no, salary must be paid. How will you not pay salary? In spite of that, we have made best efforts. Let me tell you, please believe me, when we have told all our clients, see that at least some amount is paid to the workmen, to the employees, so that they do not starve. And we have always said there are ways and means under which you can manage to pay some salary. Keep them alive. Let them be alive so that they will be with you. They are with you. So it is not as though tomorrow, if I want to run the factory with 400 people, I won't reduce to 300 just because I will have no restriction, because I need them. So take, for example, Mysore. KR Mills closed. Ideal Java closed. Mysore Machinery closed. So many factories in Mysore, so many in Bangalore. When there has been restriction of 100, it is closed. What did you do? What did the trade union leaders do then? There's hardly anything you can do, because when a man cannot run the factory, he will not run the factory. You may threaten him of sending to jail. Fine, I agree with you. But when he has no money, what will he do? He says, "Oh, do you want me to go to jail? I'll go to jail." But please remember, if one employer is sent to jail for this reason, another 100 potential investors will keep away. You want those 100 potential investors to invest here and provide job, or be happy with sending one person behind the bar? Please take lead. Tell the government that you are not interested in prosecution. There's no point. You prosecute. So many prosecutions have taken place. I have seen. I have come to High Court any number of times on this subject. Is it going to sort out your problem? So make the amendments. Trade Union Act 1926. Today, all our workmen are very well educated. In fact, in one of the companies, number of employees are shareholders. General body meeting is called of the shareholders. The workmen go and tell the officers, "Sir, our company has done extremely well, sir." Then the officer asks him, I said, "How do you know?" I said, "The company has done well." "Sir, my son is a software engineer, sir. The chairman's speech in so-and-so place, he has given me the copy. The chairman has said the company is doing very well. So all of us workmen know the company is doing very well." So they're all educated. Children are educating them. The next generation has come. It is not 1926 generation. It is 2020 generation that has come. They know everything, every aspect of what is happening around, particularly where their parents work. When that is the case, where is the need for outsiders to be in the trade union? After all, internally they can manage well. Outside, leadership is there. You can always support them from outside, just as we employers, advocates are helping them from outside. Let them take more responsibility. They know better. Therefore, these changes, whether under trade union law or Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act or Industrial Disputes Act or the various other enactments, have to be brought in one whole piece. Unfortunately, the central government is miserably failing in this process. Today, they have announced the code on wages to be brought into force during September. What is the use of that code? There's absolutely no change in that code. It has been brought. 3 more codes are coming. They are only consolidating the law. They are not applying their mind to what change is required. That is the most unfortunate part. I think it's time central government stops this business of 4 courts. Stop the business of 4 courts. Allow the law to be what it is. make the changes wherever it is required. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ಕಾಲಲ್ಲಿ ಗಾಯ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಕಾಲು ಕತ್ತರಿಸಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. To find remedy for it. You can't cut the leg because there's a wound in the leg. Find out how the wound could be cured. But the central government, I don't know who advises them. They have done whatever they feel, in whatever manner they want. So these are the changes that are required, absolutely necessary, to look into the future of the nation. Why should I not compete with China or Germany? Why should I not compete with other countries? They are all very small countries. European countries are all absolutely small countries. The only challenge can be from China. If Chinese can do, why we cannot do? In fact, one of my friends was joking. He has a factory in China also. He told me, in China, they don't give much leave at all, sir. Not more than 2 days or 3 days. I said, what's wrong? In our plants, they give 15 days, 1 month leave. He said, sir, in China, if you give 15 days leave, after the fellow comes back after 15 days, you will have to retrain him to do the job. The skill levels are low. Indian workmen are fantastic. The kind of job they can do is unimaginable. But only thing is, you need the environment. Environment is most important. Government should know its role. Nobody is bothered about, like, for example, today, nobody is worried about COVID. All the televisions have started on something else, leaving COVID far behind. They are more interested in who made what, when, how. Therefore, it's high time the government of India constitutes a body of experts in the field of industrial law, instead of depending exclusively on IAS officers sitting in Delhi. Bring some good changes in the existing law. Basically, give freedom to operate, freedom to run the industry. Rest will fall into its place without any difficulty. Thank you for listening. And I had been given 1 hour. I think I'm just completing 1 hour. I'm told that there's going to be a question and answer session next. And I leave it to the moderator to proceed further in the matter. Mr. Trivikram.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for a very enlightening session coupled with wit. Unfortunately, it shows the reality of the present situation, how the governments have treated this arena of law. Thank you very much. In fact, though it gave us a comic relief, it's an interviewing session for us to look into this aspect of law. So can we now move on to the Q&A session, sir?
Yes, sir.
Akash, request you to unmute all the lines.
Please. Go ahead.
Akash,
Analysts can unmute themselves and ask questions.
Right. Can we have the first question online, please?
Yes, please go ahead.
We have about 8 questions offline, sir. Mr. Manoharan has a question. During this lockdown, can company take disciplinary action towards employees for his action, which is against company's standing order?
Action against company standing orders is not allowed, whether COVID or no COVID.
Absolutely, sir. And we'll take up the next question. Sir, will a dismissal of a software engineer drawing a salary of 1 lakh seek relief under the Industrial Disputes Act?
Undoubtedly. A software engineer is a workman under industrial law. Who is a workman under industrial law? For industrial law to apply. Any employee employed to do unskilled, semi-skilled, skilled, technical, operational job, he is a workman. Pilot is a workman because he does the work all by himself. Therefore, a person who works on a software called computer, uses his brain, does the work, he is very much a workman.
Thank you, sir. Can we have the next question online, please? Anybody who has a question can unmute yourself and pose the question. And people who are not on panel can raise your hands, and our engineer would promote you to the panel. All right. Yeah, can we have the first question, please?
Sir, can I speak?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
This is Devang Shah. I'm only taking advice of Mr. Murthy. We have closed the factory in month of February.
Yes.
In last 2 days, our workers has come to Bangalore again after this COVID closed down. They were entered into our premises, trying to threaten our security and verbally to us, and trying to break the locks of the factory and other thing. We have made the police complaint, FIR file today only. So want to know now 18 people are left. Now how we can get rid of them?
Wow. See, if they are a small number, less than 100, and if you are closed in accordance with law, all that you can do is tell the police and pray the God.
Okay. Right, sir. Right.
So, thank you, sir. Can we have the next online question, please?
Yes,
Can we
Mr.
have
Rohit Ashwa, you can ask a question if you have.
I'm not able to see him, sir. Kindly unmute and you can proceed with your question. Meanwhile, we'll take up offline question. I think he's not.
This is Felicita here. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
I had a question. During this lockdown period, can we ask, there is not much of work at the organization at this point of time, and we don't want all the employees to come to work also because we want to maintain a percentage that needs to come to the organization, say about 50%. Now, can we ask the other 50% to apply their PL at this point of time during this time?
Madam, CL is the prerogative of an employee. You can't force an employee to apply CL.
Not CL, sir, PL, privilege leave.
Yeah, even privilege leave, that is all the more his privilege. Why? How can you take away his privilege? He will take leave when he wants and not when you want. So there is no way you can force an employee to take leave. These things can be done only by government undertakings and government, not by private employers who are susceptible to all kinds of prosecution. Sorry.
Thanks, sir. Thanks. No, I wanted this for clarity.
Yes, I can make out who talks, and from your voice, I know who you are.
Sir, my question is that will dismissal debar an employee from joining in the same organization?
No, your question little clearer, please.
My question is that will dismissal debar the employee from the future joining in the same organization?
No, not at all. If organization is so generous that it will dismiss the employee back into service, the employer is great. Let me salute him.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. But there is a
Sir, I have a question.
But sir, there is a difference between the discharge and dismissal. So in law, the dismissal is talks about that there will be a punishment. Dismissal will be treated as a punishment, and there will be no future joining in the same organization.
No, there is no law. You see, discharge for misconduct is one thing, dismissal for misconduct is another thing. When you discharge for misconduct, since his terminal benefits will not be affected, if you dismiss, it's possible that his terminal benefits will be affected.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Sir, I have a question.
Sir, good evening, sir. Prakash Waddi here.
Prakash?
Yes, sir. Prakash Waddi here. I have a question. Very good evening, sir. It was a very good speech from you. And I would like to have one question from me. The situation today about this this indiscipline or maybe not having the reforms in the industrial laws, is that because of only politicians? Then what about IAS officers, government people and experts like you? There are so many people are there. Why can't we push to the government to make these reforms?
Yes, I may have gone several times in the COVID period to find out if there's any possibility of anyone listening to us for bringing the amendment. The politicians will not do anything because peace in industry, productivity in the nation, improvement of citizens is not a very palatable thing for politicians because there will be no trouble. They would not like it. But I'm sure if judiciary can, I would use the word meddle with so many things, which are not really judicial in nature. Why should they not interfere here? And why should they not say indiscipline is not going to be tolerated, reverse some of their wrong judgments, and say, we in this country, in India, our first target, first requirement is discipline. Discipline brings everything. Without discipline, you cannot achieve anything. Democracy does not mean you can talk whatever you want and get away. You can defame anyone any day, at any time. So discipline is important. Judiciary should take the lead. Parliament will never take the lead.
Sir, good evening, sir. This is Vinod from. Sir, this is Vinod Kumar, sir.
Huh?
So we heard your speech. The speech was very well, sir. So you were talking about the. Sir, you were talking about discipline about the workers, sir. So my question is that. So what in your perspective, what would be the action against the management who will do the indiscipline action about the workers, sir?
You are asking about who will take care of indiscipline in the management or with the labor?
So management, sir.
Indiscipline in the management?
Yes, sir.
Look here. The management means the
so
owner.
Because if the indiscipline action about the worker, if it is a dismissal, is the capital punishment. So what about the industrials which violate the laws or victimize the workers?
You are right. When a industry victimizes the workmen, courts will give the relief of reinstatement with full back wages and sometimes compensation, and that's enough of a punishment for an employer, because employer is always concerned about money and labor is always concerned about its consideration for the work carried out by. If such a thing happens, there is a court and a number of judgments which say there cannot be victimization, unfair labor practice, violation of law, everything I've been talking, everything results in prosecution. And they are to be punished, they will be punished. Take any labor enactment, it says violation of law leads to 6 months imprisonment or 12 months imprisonment. If it is not done, if it is not effectively implemented, please tackle the executive. Why it is not done? Why discretion is given to them? What makes them not take action? That's why I said you are given power. For what is the power going to be used? I don't want to say more. Then I'd like to ask my all lawyer friends who are hearing me to come in my defense if a defamation suit is filed against me. So I'll stop at that. Yeah, next question.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Sir, Mr. Nandakishore, hold on for a moment. We have about 26 questions. We'll take one offline question and then you can proceed. Mr. Jayasimha has a question, sir. Please share some inputs on fixed term contract.
Fixed term contract.
Yes, sir.
Can I request all those who are hearing me to go to YouTube, tune to S.N. Murthy, senior advocate, has spoken for 19 minutes about fixed term employment. All of you will get that. More than 1,000 people have seen so far in the last 1 week. I will only summarize in 2 sentences. Fixed term employment concept is a fraud on the employer, on the employee. It's a fraud by the government. It's a fraud by those who make this law. There is nothing like fixed term contract in Indian law, industrial law. There is a provision which says that if a workman works for 240 days in a period of 12 months, he is as good as being made permanent. Like in government service, you don't have to go for being made permanent or whatever the terminology. But here, if a workman works for if you take today, if you want to see whether it is right or wrong, go back 365 days and find out if he has worked for 240, not if he has worked, if he had been paid for 240 days. And that is sufficient to say that he is as good as a confirmed workman. If you want to remove him, you must follow the provisions of retrenchment. Only where the work is of a fixed nature. I'll give you a small example. I got about 100 machinery. I want some engineers to carry out time study of my machines. And to carry out the time study of machines, it takes 2 years for 4 engineers. That is the only time you can have fixed term employment, for 2 years, because the job itself comes to an end. Otherwise, Indian employers will finish off the employees. If it says, I start a factory, take 5,000 people on 2 years contract, throw them all out in 2 years, take another set of 5,000 people. So Supreme Court said, no, this is not what you mean by fixed term employment. The work for which you engage itself must get over in a fixed time. Only in such cases, you can have fixed term employment. You want more? Go to YouTube.
Yes, sir, certainly. Mr. Nandakishore, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir, and thanks for your time, and it's really enlightening. My question is, after the even first lockdown, one day before lockdown, or maybe there were a lot of employees travel back to their native states, and they have not come back even after first lockdown, and they have not yet reported to the office after 2 months, and even one more lockdown has come, that is come, they are still not reporting back. So what is that action we can take? As we can, like in any other case, we'll give 3 months notice, 3 notices to them and ask them to report it back, or what we need to do in this situation?
What is the transportation mode from Delhi to Bangalore today?
No, still,
how to come? He can't fly, he can't run, no train, how will he come? If you can show that there are a number of transportation provisions through which he can come to Bangalore and yet he has not come, please go ahead with action. But if you are unable to show as to how he will come here, what action can you take? Even after 6 months, you cannot. Unless normalcy is restored in terms of having trains or air travel service. And if it does not come, then you can say, look here, all opportunities are there, train services are there, air services are there, please come. I'll give you 8 days time. If he still does not come, yes, you can treat him as voluntarily abandoned employment.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Can we
will
consider
take up
this
one
period as a loss of pay? The period which has not come, can we consider that as a loss of pay?
Certainly, certainly.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll take up one offline question. Mr. Shama has a question here. Recently, government says permission not required to close down an industry having less than 300 workmen. Is it in force, sir?
It is not. We are awaiting a gazette notification. I hope it will not become like definition of industry. It may get notified by Monday.
Absolutely, sir. Yes, we'll take up one online question here. Yes. I think Mr. Rajshekhar had a question. He's been raising his hand for quite some time. Yes, you are unmuted. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm Rajshekhar. Good evening, sir.
Yes.
Sir, you said Contract Labor Act is obnoxious and that is to be replaced. Sir, in your rich experience, can you propose what exactly needs to be done? Notwithstanding the observation that employers is to be sort of not restricted much by the officials.
I have a 1-sentence answer for your 2-sentence question. And that is, repeal Contract Labor Act. Same day, same time, same notification. You repeal, drop Chapter 5, Roman B, capital B from the Industrial Disputes Act. That is a solution to most of our problems.
Thank you, sir.
Others may have views, but this is my view.
Absolutely, sir. Mr. Srinivas, in fact, than a question, he has some advice. Dear sir, why can't you be an experts team during amendments of various labor laws? I am expecting a... Sir, you have been muted all of a sudden. You will have to unmute.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You are audible now.
Yeah.
I would repeat the question. Dear sir, why can't you be an experts team during amendments of various labor laws?
I have already said, labor law, labor lawyers do not seem to have any recognized place at all. Who will appoint me as expert? I wish you were the chief secretary, then possibly you could appoint me and I could be called an expert. But right now, nobody considers us. See, this is not a priority area. Unfortunately, nobody has realized GDP of this country is to a great extent depend on the total productivity in the nation, production in the nation, buying power of people. The finance minister says MSME, medium and small scale enterprises. They are the people affected. Yes, today's amendment by the Karnataka government, which is likely to come in another 2 days, is meant only for MSMEs. Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman, finance minister, said, we are going to give so much to MSMEs that is, they can take additional loan without giving any collateral security for additional loan. My clients are asking me only one question. Sir, we have money, we don't have orders. So what is required is create a purchasing power in the citizens. For that, you need to create employment. To create employment, you must create a conducive atmosphere, not one of threatening a person who might like to start an industry or expand an empire, industrial empire.
We have still about 32 questions, but we will be taking up very few questions, selective ones. Mr. Kantraj has a question. He is accounts manager, comes under workman's category.
Does an account manager come under workman's?
Accounts manager. Supreme Court has said deputy manager of South India Bank is a glorified clerk. Now, if as an accounts manager, if he has some people working under him, he allots them work, he sanctions leave for them, he writes their annual reports, the confidential reports, yes, he will not be a workman. Otherwise, Supreme Court terms him as a glorified clerk. He'll be a workman.
Sure, sir. Can we take up one more online question here?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Anybody has an online question?
Sir, this is Murthy here. So just wanted to check that if the current situation continues for another 6 months and we exhaust all the cash flows and we don't have anything to pay because of the business slowdown, so what do we do with the employees tomorrow? In the continuing, the epidemic continues. So it is retrenchment, layoff.
How many employees do you have?
We have about 200 employees, sir.
Then wait for some time. Day after tomorrow, government is going to notify up to 300 you can lay off, retrench, or close. Depending upon your financial strength, you decide what you want to do. You want to reduce number? Please reduce number. Talk to the union. Tell them, look, I have paid for 2-3 months. Beyond this, it is difficult for me to pay. Give them the balance sheet. Give them the profit and loss account. Tell them where is the source now. Convince them. If they don't get convinced, you don't have to be very much. You do your duty. Ultimately, if you have no money, how can anybody force you to pay? Tell me. So you will not pay automatically. Answer is in you. You decide. As long as you can pay, please pay. The day you cannot, nobody can force you.
Thank you, sir. We'll take up one more offline question. Mr. Divyam Jain has a question. As you suggested that to empower employer and ultimately the industries, but there is always a divergence in objectives of employees and employers, then does not the increase the scope of unjustfulness to the employees?
Unjust?
I repeat, sir, unjustfulness to the employees. That is what he says.
Because of what?
As you suggested that to empower employer and ultimately the industry.
I have never suggested empower the employer. All that I have said is allow an employer to run his business in the manner he wants within the restrictions framed by the government, and those restrictions must be reasonable. Suppose you now tell a man who just spoke to me, 200 employees, he says he has no money to pay salary. He does not have the resources. Now, what should he do? Would this gentleman send him behind the bars because he's unable to pay? It's all a question of how practical your life. Once upon a time, I remember when Mrs. Gandhi was the finance minister or Mr. Morarji Desai, 93% was the income tax. And black money started, overflowed. Who will give 93 rupees to government and keep 7 rupees? Today, if you are going to tell an employer, look here, gentlemen, whether you run or not, you pay salary. If you don't pay salary, we will send you behind the bars. Even Supreme Court has directed no coercive step will be taken. In the sense, you should not implement that. You must see that matter gets settled across the table.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Before we wind up the session, we'll take up one more offline question. Mr. Gopi Krishna, recently private bank had withdrew mandate given to IBA regarding wage revision, whether the employee union can challenge the withdrawal mandate in court.
What is the withdrawal mandate? Just tell, please repeat.
Recently, private bank had withdrew mandate given to IBA regarding wage revision.
Yes.
Whether the employee union can challenge the withdrawal mandate in the court.
Why will employees union challenge? They themselves want to withdraw. Management want to withdraw from IBA. How can you stop? Suppose you want to go out of your union. All of them have got a union, 3-4 unions are there, Bank Employees Association. If they want to withdraw from the association, can the management stop them? So also if the management wants to withdraw, can the labor stop? How can you force an employer saying, you be a member of this association? Which law permits? Does he not have a right to join association or leave an association? To join an association carries with it the right to leave the association. Sorry, you cannot force them to be in the association.
Thank you, sir. We will have one last question online and we will conclude the session. Mr. Akash can unmute one last person who has a query. Does anybody have a query before we wind up the session?
Hello, sir. Good evening, Jairam here.
Yes, sir.
Sir, in continuation to the earlier question, that
sir, you are not audible. You will have to be.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir,
yes.
Yeah, now we can hear.
Hello, sir. Audible?
Yes, yes.
Sir, in addition, just continuation to the earlier question asked by Yunapur, that gazette notifications awaiting for amending the labor laws. That is increasing the number of 100 to 300 for now taking the permission for layoff. Similarly, for the OT hours and the registration of establishment under Contract Labor Act, is it these two are also waiting for notifications? Notification because I read in the Economic Times.
In the Contract Labor Act for registration, also the employee number has increased.
Yes, yes, you're right. Today's newspaper, you saw Economic Times, Times of India. It says, as long as you have less than 50 contract workmen,
yes, sir.
You need not go in for registration under the Contract Labor Act.
Okay, okay.
And a contractor who engages less than 50 workmen need not register.
Get the license from the labor department.
Sorry, take license. No need to take license. If he has more than 50 or more, he is required to take license under the Contract Labor Act. This is one of the areas which has been highly troublesome for employers and the contractors. Maybe so, to the employees also.
So that gazette notification done, sir? Sorry to ask you again.
President's signature is over. Now the ball is in with the law minister. Probably Monday afternoon you may get the notification.
Thank you, sir. I personally have a question, sir.
Yes.
In the month of March, we had read a news that major labor laws was suspended in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Could you please share your views on this, sir?
That is the most foolish act that any chief minister could have done. It is like saying Bangalore will not have police from tomorrow. And so you can go move comfortably. No police, no helmet, no mask, nobody to ask. Now everybody can be happy. And what happens to Bangalore will happen to Uttar Pradesh in industrial front. It's most, in fact, I should say when you have asked me this question, our labor laws are one of the finest in the world. It has worked fairly all right, except for a few pockets. As I told you in the earlier, when I made a statement, because of an injury in leg, you can't cut off the leg. You must cure the ailment. Now, therefore, for Uttar Pradesh to say, I don't want labor laws, I do not know, to my knowledge, having dealt with large number of multinational companies, the foreign companies are very keen to know the laws. They're very clear. They say, no, there must be some law. Even they don't appreciate lawlessness, which the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh may be thinking. It's a very stupid move, let me tell you. I am very blunt and plain, so I use the word. It is not a, it's not a fair thing to do. It's not a practical thing to do.
Sir, thank you so much. On behalf of Advocates Association Bangalore, I extend my heartfelt thanks to you, sir, for a very enriching session and addressing all our queries. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thankful and grateful to all the members of the Advocates Association Bengaluru, giving an opportunity. COVID has made me now known to a large number of advocates who may not have known that I'm one of the advocates in the court. Thanks for all that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. With your permission, we'll be signing off the session.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.